Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in less than 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. Today we are talking reactions to the Trump-Putin meeting and the federal investigation into Uber. Plus Lyft's new plan, Amazon's Prime Day problems, and the top-paid celebs. All that and more in less than 10 minutes. I'm Erica Mandy. Today is Tuesday, July 17th. You ready? Let's do this. Expect more reactions and a lot of opinions today about the meeting between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. The main topic of conversation, how President Trump questioned U.S. intelligence officials and then seemed to support Russia instead. Remember, U.S. investigators found Russia interfered with the U.S. presidential election in 2016 and then recently charged a dozen Russian spies over it. But the Washington Post reports that during a joint press conference with Putin yesterday, Trump said the Russian president was, quote, extremely strong and powerful in his denial. President Trump also called the investigation itself a witch hunt, and he said it's dividing the U.S. and Russia. Before the press conference in Helsinki, Finland, the two presidents had a private meeting, the first formal one-on-one between the two, by the way. Now, several lawmakers from both parties are criticizing how President Trump handled it. USA Today reports Speaker Paul Ryan, a Republican, said there's no question Russia interfered with the election and is trying to undermine democracy. Senator John McCain called it, quote, disgraceful. But President Trump shared his frustration with Fox News that media is focusing on the investigation instead of the other issues the two leaders discussed, like Syria and terrorism. A federal judge says the immigrant families who were separated and then reunited recently are not allowed to be deported, at least not in the next week. The AP says it's a temporary order this week to deal with the rumors that families are being shipped off as soon as they get back together. The ACLU wants families to have at least a week to decide whether they want to ask for asylum in the U.S. or go back to their home countries, which are sometimes dangerous. The judge has not decided about that one, but said, let's give it a week of no deportations so we can get some more information. By the way, remember that other court order that said more families have to be reunited? That deadline is next week. We're talking about families who crossed the U.S.-Mexico border illegally and then were separated in recent months. The adults detained, the kids sent to shelters. It caused a lot of public outcry, and now the government is working to bring those families back together. But what exactly happens after that? To be continued. Candidates are getting ready for the 2020 presidential election. The New York Times says President Trump has already raised more than $88 million for his re-election campaign, and Times calls it a dramatic head start over possible challengers on the Democrats' side. So who are those possible challengers? Senators Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, and Bernie Sanders, as well as former Vice President Joe Biden, are all rumored to be interested. Uber is facing a federal investigation now. The Wall Street Journal reports it's about alleged gender discrimination at the company. Uber's newish CEO has been trying to move past the past scandals. The company says it's made a lot of changes in the last 18 months, like reviewing pay and launching diversity trainings for employees around the world. Well, the competition between Uber and Lyft continues. Lyft now wants you to leave cars behind and use bikes and scooters more. Why? Well, it recently bought the largest bike share operator in the U.S. that is now working to add scooters as well. So Lyft wants to give you more of a reason to use them. The Verge reports Lyft is considering discounts of up to 100% when people use bikes or scooters for rides that either start or stop at certain designated transit stops. Remember, Uber just invested in an electric scooter startup, Lime, and already bought a bike-sharing company, Jump. A quick break now because today's episode is brought to you by a new free program called 3 Hours to Your Big Idea. Most of us are in one of three camps. Either you don't have a big idea yet, you have a lot of ideas but aren't sure which is the big idea, or you have your big idea and you still need some clarity and direction to know what to do next, how to test it. Whichever camp you're in, you can be just 3 hours away from figuring it all out and having your big idea. Successful podcaster and business owner John Lee Dumas has put this together for you, and he's tested this process. He knows it works. So head on over to yourbigidea.io to get your big idea in 3 hours. This is a free program, so just go to yourbigidea.io. Now, back to the news. There's talk of a video streaming bubble. That's at least what one expert told Bloomberg when word got out that Netflix didn't reach its expected growth last quarter. And when there's a bubble, that means it can burst. But others say not so fast. They blame other factors, from forecasting problems to even the World Cup, since people were distracted from their normal viewing habits. At the end of the day, though, Netflix is still growing, just not quite as much as expected. TBD if this is a one-time slump or a long-term concern. Amazon Prime Day is still happening, but not without its own set of problems. CNN reports the Amazon website crashed, or at least some customers dealt with outages throughout the day. Shoppers were seeing error messages instead of products, although Amazon's error pages actually do have some cute dogs on them, so that helps. Amazon said it was working to fix the issue, but it was also highlighting the success of Prime Day so far. Despite the outages, the company says in the first hour, customers ordered more this year than the first hour of last year. And experts predict the 36 hours will lead to $3.4 billion in sales, assuming the site is working, of course. If you're still interested in some of the deals Amazon has, you do still have time. Prime Day lasts through midnight tonight. Baseball's All-Star Game is happening tonight at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. It starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Time if you want to tune in on Fox. Already last night was the Home Run Derby. CBS Sports says the hometown player won it. Nationals player Bryce Harper won with 19 home runs. Forbes just put out its list of the 100 highest paid celebrities. Number 1, at least in 2017, boxer Floyd Mayweather, thanks to his August fight that helped him make $275 million. Number 2, George Clooney. He sold his tequila company he co-founded with 2 others for $700 million. And number 3, Kylie Jenner, whose cosmetics company brings in a lot of money. Remember, she's now close to being the youngest billionaire ever when you add up all of her earnings. And last one, number 4, is Judge Judy. And that's it. You are all caught up. Thanks so much again for listening. And I have to tell you, my day was made yesterday when some listeners took a video of themselves listening to the show and posted it on Instagram. I love to see that. I love to see you enjoying the show and getting some value out of it. So thank you. And if we aren't connected yet on Instagram, be sure to find me at Erica Mandy News and say hello. And don't forget to visit yourbigidea.io. And if you want to read more about any of the news stories mentioned in today's episode, just head on over to the homepage of thenewsworthy.com. From there, click episodes and find today's date. You'll see all the stories that I referenced. The Newsworthy is ready for you to listen every weekday by 4 in the morning Eastern Time. We will chat again tomorrow. Have a great day.